Hey there friends, welcome to another Legally on America video. I'm of course Paul Glasgow here, the one and only OG Truth Pimp, bringing you a vulgar display of logic and reason on a daily basis. I told you guys yesterday about some video that I had about an instance that took place while my wife and I were on the Hawaiian Islands, more specifically Honolulu. We did a bunch of snorkeling and had a great time. The scenery is unbelievable, and obviously the marine life is easy to access and equally beautiful in the entire area. Again, this is all worth the trip regarding the snorkeling and the sightseeing and stuff like that. We decided to go down to an area that's called Magic Island, and a beautiful area, very beautiful area. As you can see from the Google Maps that I have right here, just an incredible place. So I had done a little bit of reading before we went down there and looked at the areas. I knew that from a violent crime, it wasn't a horrible issue in Hawaii, but obviously theft, burglaries, even breaking into cars and things like that is very, very common over there, especially in the touristy spots where they know that you're going to have things of value in your car. So we kind of, and again, my wife already knew all of that, but I wanted to see the areas we had to stay away from. And I had noticed a couple of weeks ago that where we were going from Magic Island was a pretty hot place as far as crime, but didn't think anything of it because we didn't carry, or we didn't have high value stuff that we were leaving in the car. Anything that we had of any value was actually on us. Little did I know that the crime was actually with the people, attacking the people over there. And I'm not saying this generally because we only saw one instance, but we did see an instance. And let me give you the lead up to this, because I didn't catch the beginning of the video, but I certainly got all the rest of it. As my wife and I were walking to a specific area to look at turtles, and we did in fact see some sea turtles there, very cool to see that, but we were walking to this specific area in order to see them, and we noticed some elevated voices, and it was a lady chasing a man, and the man was on a bicycle, and he was holding a bicycle with his left hand. What does that tell you? He was stealing her bicycle. So she's yelling at him, she's running, and I tell you what, for somebody not on a bicycle chasing somebody on a bicycle, she was doing pretty good. She was keeping up with the guy. You can see in these pictures that there is a seawall over there to the left of all the trees and the grassy area. He pushes her bicycle over the seawall as he's heading, if you look at this picture, it's facing north and south. As he's heading north to exit the park with the stolen bicycle, he pushes it to his left over the seawall. Now, I don't know if that was a ploy to go back to her other stuff, because they had ridden a little ways away from her stuff. But it was either his intent all along, or this guy is a pretty fast-thinking criminal. Because after he pushed the bicycle over the seawall, knowing the lady was going to go down after it, he immediately circled back around to head right back to her stuff. She had two big green, kind of like those recyclable type shopping bags, and her purse over there. And he made a beeline straight for it. That's where the video picked up. And I'm going to give you in a nutshell what was going on, then I'm going to let you watch the video. So he essentially went back to her stuff, grabbed her purse, knew which one was her purse, grabbed it. She met him back over there. Instead of going after the bicycle, she realized what he was doing, and there was a struggle for the purse. At that point, we stopped, and I pulled my camera. I'm like, he's robbing this lady. Then I realized what was going on. At first, it appeared to be maybe a domestic quarrel or something like that, and it's just like they were arguing, until I realized, no, he's stealing her bicycle. So when I saw him circle back, I heard him pull my phone out to start videoing, and this is what took place. This shit. Hey!
She's coming after her.
He's coming to steal all her shit. Hey! Hey, boy! There's a cop right over there. Now you'll notice towards the end of the video, I mentioned there's a cop right over there. This is essentially how far away the cop was. He probably, if he were looking at the area, he certainly would have seen the guy. The blue X at your upper right-hand corner is where the law enforcement officer was, Honolulu Police Department. The yellow X is where the guy was assaulting and robbing the lady, and the green X is essentially where my wife and I were filming this take place. So as you can see here from a street level view, That's the shot where the law enforcement officer was. And I know this because I came back to the law enforcement officer after I filmed this and gave him pictures of the guy. So the guy was sitting right where the blue X is. And that blue arrow that you see, that's the line of sight that he could see straight across that bay where all of this action was taking place. Now, before I go any further, I want to explain to you guys a little bit. Obviously, this is Hawaii, very not gun-friendly. Yes, I know we went and we vacationed in an area that wasn't gun-friendly. Look, I don't let these people dictate where I go. They can set their laws however they want to keep people like me and like you guys out of there because that's essentially what they want. They don't want us there. But I don't let people control where I go. So I still go wherever I want to go, regardless of their laws. In Hawaii, you can have a 3.5-inch blade. I carried a 3.5-inch blade. No gun. Just my blade with me. But still, I had some form of protection. And of course, everybody, you know, belt and everything else, you can use a form of protection. But one thing, if you understand the criminal minds, I know there's some law enforcement and security guys that watch this channel, you guys know what I'm talking about. The criminal mind sometimes thinks ahead because they're worried about additional charges being placed on them. When you rob somebody and you do things like what this guy was doing, if you are armed, you will get additional charges. So in most cases, these petty thieves like this are not usually packing, not even to the point of having a knife in most cases. But again, usually these guys are smart enough, if I can use that term to describe a criminal, smart enough not to be armed. So this next clip that I'm going to show you is where the guy was, I was again filming the thing. I cut it off after he drove off, but I kept watching him as my wife walked over a little bit to look towards the turtle. She was in a safe area by the bank. I walked back towards the sidewalk area to see if I could see the guy, and sure enough I did. I spotted the guy. He was circling back around. Don't know what he was going to do, but then he realized me standing at the edge of the sidewalk taking video of him and started to drive towards me. Now, it looked like what he was attempting to do is intimidate me to drive his bicycle at me as if to run into me. Then, obviously, we exchanged a little bit of pleasantries, and the guy drove off.
I got it all right here, bitch. I ain't scared of you, bitch. Punk ass bitch.
So not knowing where the guy was going, I went back to check on my wife and to put my phone away just in case. I didn't know if the guy was going to circle back around again. At that time when he came by, I did not have, my knife was in my pocket as it is now. So I didn't have it like in my hand or anything like that. But I want to make sure that it was a safe area. I assumed these guys are most likely cowards in many cases. He was going to come back and he didn't. He circled all the way around. I think he knew where the law enforcement officer was, which is still sad that after all this commotion, and you can see people moving quickly at one another, especially when he was attacking the lady, that law enforcement, again, was probably paying attention to something else, not enforcing law, if you know what I mean. And didn't do anything, didn't see the guy or anything like that. Because after the guy, I saw him circle the entire park area, and I walked over to the law enforcement officer, because again, I saw the officer when we pulled up. He was there the whole time. So we walked over there after I checked actually got to see the turtle with my wife. And went back to the law enforcement officer, took a screen grab from this, showed him the video and stuff, and gave it to him. And he actually took the the picture on his own phone, and went and circled back around to look. Now, we didn't hang around. We weren't interested in that. We ended up leaving right after that. But at least I got the information and the intel into somebody else's hands who's supposed to be the one enforcing that. And he seemed eager to receive the information from me. I truly believe he didn't see the altercation taking place a little ways down from him, even though it was directly in front of him, his line of sight. That's the direction his car was actually parked. But it doesn't mean, I mean, there's so much going on out there between the beach and everything else. I mean, his whole view, there was tons of stuff going on. I don't expect him to have been honed in on just that particular area at that moment. But it was, again, directly in front of him. And I pointed it out to him, said, hey, it's right there, you know, in front of you. So he took the information. The thing that was interesting, I want to show you some of the stuff. And since then, I've pulled some additional information up. I want to show you some of the information that I pulled up. And I suggest anytime that you're going somewhere to do the same thing whenever you're going to a location that you're not already familiar with the area. Again, my wife was, and my wife, you know, warned me of different areas that she knew of. But I still want to see the statistics because I want to know what type of crime was prevalent in those areas. This is a map right here of this particular area, of the Honolulu specific area. And if you look right down here, this is where we were, where that red circle is. Zoom in a little bit closer, you can see that the dark blue areas are the most dangerous areas. And guess where we were? In a dark blue area. So this whole little peninsula area of Magic Island is certainly prone to what we experienced and what we saw firsthand. If you look here on a breakdown of these statistics, you'll notice that Honolulu specifically has a real issue with theft. Look at that, 13,000 reported thefts. That's incredible. This is from 2023, 2 years ago. So that's a lot of thefts, 13,000. Look at the rest of the crime. Very, very low compared to everything else. I mean, you can see your leader by a long shot. Nothing else is even close to that. Vehicle theft, as I mentioned earlier, was the one right behind that with 3,600. We had 13,000 as far as theft goes. So clearly these are career people. It's probably why this guy was really proficient at riding off with this bicycle, because it wasn't his first time doing it. And if you pull up some of the more current statistics, it says between February 4th and March 3rd, 2004, there were 203 reported crimes in the Almoana area. That's where we were. Out of the 203, 29 were violent crimes, including 21 assaults, 7 robberies, and 1 homicide. So as you can see, the violent crime is not the bigger of the issues as we saw in that previous chart. I was a little shocked when I looked down here and saw that one of the violent crimes was a random chemical attack. Personally, I didn't see a bunch of radical Islamic people there, but that's definitely indicative of a radical Muslim when you see a random chemical attack. That's not random. That's isolated to a spout between some caveman and his wife. Looking at some of the other information, this is another website that I pulled up, crimegrade.org. You can see again that same little peninsula right there where it's Magic Island has an F rating for safe areas. So again, these are all good places. Take note of these areas and these websites that I'm pointing out, because you want to go to those and take a look at that when you're going into a particular area and arm yourself accordingly, or at least be aware of the potential threat. I think there's some good things to keep in mind when you go to places like this. Definitely make direct eye contact. I know some people are afraid to do that, and you shouldn't be. I think that making direct eye contact, letting people know you see them, you can recognize them, you can spot them is always a good thing. I don't keep my head down. I don't act like I don't see anybody. I make direct eye contact with as many people that I run in contact with that I cross, especially if they have that look about them. Yes, I profile. I will profile till the day I die, because statistics back me up. When I think there is a person looking or acting a certain way, that is backed up by statistics. I'm not the one making up the statistics. Facts back up those statistics. So profile when you travel. It is not against the law. It is not a bad thing. You don't have to apologize to anybody for profiling people. This case, I didn't have to. I heard the yelling before I started to figure out, is this guy a thief? I could see he was a thief. In fact, he actually fulfills the statistics that if you want to see them, go look at them. This guy actually reinforces those statistics. But yeah, definitely a weird situation. Again, no real threat there other than people losing property, of course, but certainly no physical threat there. And this guy, again, was nothing but a coward. There was no real threat to anyone, including myself. I think that probably he's gotten away with this before when people video him or eyeball him and spot him out, if people even do that. I know most people won't do that. I don't think he had any real intention of running over me with his bicycle, because as you can see, he immediately turned. Like, he turned my direction, but he immediately pulled that left to get out of there. So I don't think he had any intention of running me over anyway. He could have, but after that, things would have escalated a little bit, and I think he probably knew that. So again, guys, be careful. This was an interesting time. What a way for my wife and I to wrap up our video, our trip, I mean, because we had just got through going on a sailing trip, had a great time, and we're wrapping up our vacation and going to be catching a plane in a few hours, and then this happened. So we're like, wow, what an eventful day. It was absolutely crazy. Guys, happy Father's Day to every present dad out there. There's a lot of good dads out here that watch this channel. Happy Father's Day to all of you. I know you guys are doing a great job teaching your kids morals and values and things like that are going to make big, strong men or good women out there. And happy No King's Day to all you single moms out there who have a father who has abandoned you and your kids. So we're going to celebrate No King's Day the day after the No Kings riots out there. Have a good one, guys.
thought this was America. He's so horrible.